But then I thought, no, that's dramatic. That can't be what this is. And then I went back to the movie of looking around in my body, and then I just had that knowing, just that realization again of I'm dying. And right at that point, I popped out of my body and I was on the ceiling of the room that I was in the hospital, and I was looking down at myself. And I felt myself up on the ceiling, but I saw myself down there. And it took me a few minutes to orient and to figure out what was going on. And when I looked at my physical body down on that hospital gurney, I could see that there was no life there. I could see that I was dead. Um, and it didn't really bother me. I didn't feel distressed because of it. It was just something that was just happening. And so I'm on the ceiling just looking around. I was observing a family member, and my boyfriend was there, and the doctors and the nurses scurrying around. I could see the machines. And I was just looking, just completely from an observer's perspective, completely a part of it, but separate from it at the same time. And once I settled into it and got comfortable and I understood what was going on, then I slowly started to float backwards and up. And it was very gentle motion. It was very peaceful. And as I floated backwards slowly and up, I started to get a different perspective of the hospital. It was almost like the hospital had disappeared and I was just observing the energy of what was going on there. And I saw these tiny little balls of white energy kind of bouncing around and buzzing around. And I now know that I was seeing the souls of people. And I was just watching. And from my perspective, from this new perspective, everybody seemed so busy to me. And it seemed needlessly busy. And I thought to myself, everybody's running around down there like a bunch of chickens with their heads cut off. And I didn't understand it. It just didn't make sense from where I was at that point. And the more I floated up and backwards, then I started to see this thin, um, clear line connecting all those little balls of white energy. And it looked like, when you see a spider web up in the corner and the sunshine or the sunlight will catch it just right where you can see those little lines glistening. That's what it looked like. Um, that's what was connecting all of these souls. And that's oneness that I was observing. And it was beautiful. And it made sense to me at that point of how we're all connected. And then a little bit is a blur after that. I know that I kept floating backwards. And for a moment, I felt like I was kind of like maybe in outer space. Everything felt black around me. Um, and then I immediately went into the tunnel. And the tunnel was black, but not scary black, just dark. And I went through the tunnel so fast. And it was exhilarating. I knew I was headed somewhere wonderful. And it was exhilarating. And I was excited as to what my destination would be. But it was very quick. And then when I got to the end of the tunnel, I just plopped out. I just very gently plopped out, and I was in the white light. And going from the black tunnel into this really bright, beautiful white light, I needed a little time to adjust and orient to that as well. And as I adjusted to it and had this understanding of where I was, heaven, and that I was dead, and this is what they talk about. This is what everybody talks about, this white light. And as I was understanding that, I started feeling the love come in and it was pure, unconditional love. And I had that sense again of this is what they talk about. This is what unconditional love is. I had never felt anything like that on earth in the physical plane. So I was just soaking it up. It felt so wonderful. And there was tremendous peace that went along with it. And I felt very accepted. I felt like I was loved just for who I am, that I didn't have to do anything. I was just loved because I am who I am. And at that point, I started feeling more one with that light. I started feeling a little less separate. I kind of knew that I still had maybe my own unique vibration or personality, but I was still a part of that light all at the same time. And it felt warm to me, although I don't think there's a temperature there, but it felt just perfect to me. It felt like the perfect temperature, and it felt like a hug. I felt like a hug around me. I felt it going through me. And I was experiencing a deep healing and a deep replenishment where any wounds that I had been carrying with me because of any traumas or any pain that I had experienced when I was in my body, it was just being filled in and it was being healed and love was being poured on it. And it was the best feeling I've ever experienced. And right at that time, I started to feel what I believe were other souls coming in around me. It was like a crowd was coming in. But before I had a chance to figure out what all that was about, I heard this voice tell me, you need to go back. And I did not want to hear that. And I protested and I said, no, I don't want to go back. Please don't make me go back. I want to stay. Please don't make me go. And I heard the voice again, you need to go back. And I protested again. And then right at that moment, it didn't feel like a push, but it almost felt like a little bit of a nudge. I was back in the tunnel, going backwards through the tunnel. It was very fast. I was sucked in back into my body, up through the top of my head. The pain returned instantly, and then I blacked out. I don't remember anything that happened for several hours after